Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final edition of Mock Draft Monday. The NFL draft is finally upon us. It is officially draft week. The draft will take place on Thursday, April 28th, and it will run through April 30th. The first day will be obviously on Thursday the 28th. Day 2 will be on the 29th, and day 3 will be on the 30th. We have made it. All the talk, all the potential fall, all of it. And through it all, we have made it through another draft season. So with all that said, I'm going to have some pretty special videos dropping for you guys this week. Obviously, I'm going to have this video dropping the final Mock Draft Monday and my final Mock Draft Monday for the Baltimore Ravens. But with this also being draft week, I'm going to be doing what I would do first round mock draft for the teams, all 30 plus teams. And then I'm going to also post a video about what I think is going to happen mock. Basically, it's a little bit confusing, but the first mock draft I'm going to post is what is obviously this video. Then it's going to be what I would do mock for all the teams, and then it's going to be what I think will happen, or I like to call it the predict a pick for the first round. So I think with all that out of the way, I think I've talked about this long enough. As you can see, we are using PFF for our final mock draft today. They have a little bit of different rankings for their mock draft compared to others, and we can also use some pretty specific settings here. So these are the settings I'm going to be rocking with. I tried to get these settings as realistic as possible. So this is around the range where I have the public versus the PFF board. PFF does have some pretty strange rankings sometimes, but I think that's also why they have it versus the public board. Care for positional value, I have this turned up pretty high up. I obviously care about it. I'm going to be trying to make this mock draft as realistic as possible, since this is the last mock draft Monday for the Ravens. So I'm going to have that up pretty high. Draft for needs, I'm have this maxed out to the max because I think it makes it the most realistic. Like, I don't want, a running back going top 10, if you catch my drift. I need a realistic scenario of what happens when you have a bad quarterback class and you have a very deep tackle and edge class at the top, and what happens for the Ravens. The randomness factor, I put it around somewhere here, like around the mid-range. I don't want it to be totally chalk, but I also don't want it to be totally madness. I think this is the correct range to kind of put it. I think it also balances out for the draft for need. And I think this is the most realistic I think I'm going to be able to get an actual mock draft. I really do like PFF's advanced settings that they have for free. So I think with all that being said, I'm ready to get into this mock draft. Also, I realized that planning for this video, I've never actually did a full 7-round mock draft for the Baltimore Ravens on Mock Draft Monday. So this is going to be our first 7-round mock draft for the Ravens. And I think I've spoken enough, and I think it's time to get into this draft. So let's begin. Alright, so we are at pick 10 here for the New York Jets. I like to stop it around the 10 range because this is usually when you could sort of see a realistic scenario. Unfortunately, Kayvon Thibodeau did go at number 9 overall to the Seattle Seahawks. Ravens could not get up into that top 9 pick. I paused it right beforehand. I would have thought about trading up to 9 had Kayvon Thibodeau not gone, but Thibodeau is off the board. But as we can see here, we do have some players on the board. Derek Stingley went number 2 overall. Ahmad Gardner went number 2 overall. It's such a weird draft class. Charles Cross went number 8. Kyle Hamilton went 6. Trayvon Walker went 7. I mean, Thibodeau dropped a little bit, but I think for this board, so corners are off the board. Stingley and Gardner are off the board. The 3 tackles are off the board, and all 3 top of the line edge rushers are all off the board. So I think with this in mind, I think we're just going to sit until 14. Alright, we are on the clock here at number 14 for your Baltimore Ravens. And the board is looking kind of mid, if I do say as if the kids are saying. We have George Karlaftis. He's solid, but I don't really know if he's truly worth a top 14 pick. Tyler Linderbaum doesn't really fit the Ravens. Neither really does Drake London. Devontae Wyatt's a decent player, a really good player, but again, I have issues taking him as a top 14 pick. I really think this is a really good trade down scenario. Still got Andrew Booth on the board. Still got some decent corners on the board. Still got Jermaine Johnson and Arnold Ebekine. Still got Trevor Penning on the board. Daxton Hill, Nick Bonino. We have a lot of good players on the board, and we have some trade offers. We have 7 trade offers. So let's look into the trade offers. We could trade down to 16 with the New Orleans Saints. We can trade down to 20 with the division rival Pittsburgh Steelers. We could trade down to 21 with the Patriots. Trade down to 25 with the Bills. 26 with the Titans. Or we could trade out of the first round entirely for the New York Jets. And basically get their whole entire draft. But I think with this pick, I want to trade down with the New England Patriots. So 21 for 14. I want 54. And I want, we don't really have a pick in the late. I want 170 and I really want 127. Let me see if this trade will go through. And they have accepted it. So it's 21, 54, 127, and 170 for 14. That is a lot of value to come all the way up to number 14. So let's see who the New England Patriots will select with this pick. It's George Karlaftis. Alright, so we traded down a little bit here at 21. We picked up an extra second round pick. The board is still looking rather kind of mid. Devontae Wyatt went, Malik Willis went, Trevor Penning went, Jermaine Johnson went, George Karlaftis went. They traded all the way up to get George Karlaftis. I don't know how realistic that is. It's probably not all that realistic. But we are on the board here at 21, and we are getting some calls on the clock here. And the pick for 27 to 21 is interesting. That's not usually a range where you can pick up a second round pick. I think I'd do it for another second round pick. 32 to 21 could get me a second round pick, but the Lions have 34, so this is not going to be able to really get accepted. Like if I do 32 and 34, that's not going to be able to be accepted because the picks are way too close. I would have to give up something else, or it would have to be like 32, like 66, in like 97, and like that's not 177 in like 217. Like that's a decent move, but the Ravens already have a lot of third round picks, so that's not exactly something I'm really willing to do at this point. The Bucks is just not that intriguing. The Giants is a little intriguing. It would probably take 36, so we will be trading out of the first round completely, but we would get 36, 67, and then I want a second round next year if I'm doing that. And that is just not going to be in the plans for the Giants. Although if I could do this. and I can get their second round pick next year. Now, this is interesting for in make-believe land because we don't know how good or bad the Giants are going to be next year. But realistically, I don't think they're giving up any future picks. Like, this is not a team that's ready to win. I don't think the Giants would give up any future picks in any of their trades. So 36 in a second round pick. I think the Ravens might do it if they get more from the Giants. Like, say like it's their future second, future fourth, and say like 112. I think they would do that in real life. That's a trade that they would totally do in real life. But that's just not realistic to what I want to do with this mock draft. So I think I'm going to be solidified just sitting here at 21. I thought about trading down, picking up more picks, but as you can see, we're kind of already kind of full for the picks. We got 2 second rounders, 2 third rounders, a lot of fourth rounders, and with this, I think I want to take I just want to take a player here. Andrew Booth is certainly interesting. Jordan Davis is here at 20. He'd be good value. Tyler Linderbaum doesn't particularly fit. Bernard Raymond's age is really going to hurt him. Ravens don't really need a Nakobe Dean. They don't really need a Sky Moore. Zion Johnson would be interesting, but he's more of a guard. Tyler Smith is a really interesting prospect that's been rising up boards, but he's not really... I don't really know if he's truly a fit for this range. Louis Seen, Kahir Elam, Arnold Lebecki. Like, I certainly think there are definitely players here I think we can take. I think with this pick, I'm going to go with the big Jordan Davis. Now, look, I understand that the Ravens have a lot of defensive linemen now. Like, with the signing of Calais Campbell, it kind of muddies the water a little bit of just what they're going to do with the defensive line. But I think with this scenario, I think they want to keep everybody fresh. And Michael Pierce is coming off injury. Calais Campbell is a lot older now. Derek Wolfe coming off injury. You know, I think Jordan Davis really fits the talent board. I think he fits. I think he's going to fit the Ravens. I think they can get him to keep his weight down. I think he's more of a nose tackle than anything, but I think he can legit be like a Kenny Clark type of player where he's just so good at nose tackle that he's just going to add you so much value. I think at 21, already trading down, picking up more picks, I think this is a great pick. Alright, so we are now here at pick 40. I paused the draft to see if I potentially wanted to trade back up into the first round. But there's not exactly a lot of players that I would really want to do it for. I think Andrew Booth would be one player I would love to do it for, but he went to the Cardinals. I don't really think there's another cornerback I would really like to do it for, so I think I'm just going to wait until my pick. Alright, so we are here at pick 45, and I see one player available. And alright, this is going to be an interesting scenario. So PFF has David Ojabo super low, and I understand why. The injuries for him, it's basically going to be a redshirt year. But think about it like this. The Ravens can give him a redshirt year. And I know this draft is not producing a lot of starters. And I think that's the biggest issue with it, is that you're not getting starters day one. But I think David Ojabo at 45 would be just too much value to truly pass up. You can give him the red shirt. You can get Odafe Oweh's one of Odafe Oweh's best friends. They went to the same high school together. This is one of my favorite fits in the whole entire draft. Regardless of me just being a Ravens fan, I love this pick. David Ojabo is going to the Ravens in this mock draft. Alright, so we are on the board here at 54. This is the pick that we acquired in the trade down with the New England Patriots. And we still do have a pretty popular player here that's been mocked to the Ravens pretty consistently. Josh Pascal is a pretty good player. Again, like, he reminds me of the Pernell McPhees, like, or the Zadarius Smiths of the world, where, like, they're just solid, great, power rushing players. We do have a couple of trade down scenarios. The Chiefs are interested in moving up. They don't pick until 62. Chicago Bears are willing to trade back up into the second. Los Angeles Chargers are willing to trade up. But, those picks aren't exactly something I'm really willing to do at this point. I've done a lot of trading down in this. I think the trade downs in this draft have been solidified. But, man, Roger McQuarrie is here. And look at this cornerback room for the Ravens. They're legit an injury away from, your local Walmart employee starting at corner. Like, this is, like, I joke about that, but, like, I'm literally not even kidding. Like, they are one injury away from that happening. Like, the depth chart for the Ravens at corner is disgustingly bad. And I know they're probably going to sign a veteran when they get into training camp. Ravens always like to sign veterans as they get into training camp. And maybe that's going to fix the issue. But the issue is still not going to be fixed. I can get a day one great man coverage corner from day one. Roger McQuarrie. It's happening. It's going down. Roger McQuarrie is a great corner. He doesn't exactly know how to play zone yet. I don't know how impactful that's going to be to the Ravens. Ravens are very versatile in their defense. I do like to run zone sometimes, but they mostly like to play man coverage. Roger McQuarrie is a great guy in man coverage. Plus, I think the Ravens coaching staff can coach him up to get him better in zone coverage. Roger McQuarrie is the pick here. Ravens got to get better at corner, and that's how you do it. All right, so Ravens are on the board here at 76. We've gone pretty much all defense in this draft. We've taken Jordan Davis. We've taken for the practically a redshirt season for David Ojabo at 45. We've taken a really good corner here at pick 54 with the New England Patriots. And now I think it's time to finally go get some offensive linemen. I got a guy staring at me in Jamari Seiler, and I think this is a fantastic pick. He gives you this tackle guard hybrid, really good run blocker. Let's see what the PFF big board has to say about him. He is a senior. He's 21.7. He's basically a interior lineman. He's got really strong hands and pass protection. He's allowed 4 pressures in 2021. He's as you can see, he's a very versatile player. He's played left tackle and right guard for the national championship Bulldogs. This is one of Cole Jackson's. If you guys don't follow Cole Jackson, go give him a follow. He's a really fun follow over on Twitter. Guys, he's a very unique player, and I think Jamari Seiler is going to be on the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to make Lamar Jackson feel a little bit more comfortable with his pass protection. All right, so we are now on the board here at 100. This is when the Ravens start having a lot of their picks, and oh my god, they have so many picks. Look how many picks they have. Like, we made 1, 2, 3, 4 picks, and we still have like 7 or 8 picks to go. Like, this is ridiculous how many picks they have. The trade down really gave us a lot of ammunition. Maybe I should have used this ammunition to trade up more, but there wasn't really a player that really screamed trade up to me. So these are the players that would be considered steals at this point. So we've gone corner, we've gone tackle, we've gone edge. We've really hit it hard on the defensive side. I don't think it's going to stop. Corner here, if Zion McCollum is here in the 3rd round. I've taken this guy in nearly every single mock draft. I can't help myself. I'm a sucker for Zion McCollum. He's such a good athlete. As they say here at PFF, you won't find a better athlete in the cornerback position in this draft class. He's allowed a lot of yards in coverage, which I think PFF does do some really good things. I think their cornerback work is particularly pretty good, and I think just the fact that he's allowed a lot of those catches. Yeah, like I think he's pretty raw, but I think for the 3rd round, this is such good value. Zion McCollum is the pick here, and I think that's a fantastic pick for the Ravens. All right, so we are now on the board here at 110. We have so many picks. It's just never ending. So I'm looking at wide receiver here. Kyle Phillips is really the best player available for a wide receiver, but don't really know if that's truly the pick. Offensive tackle here. We've already kind of taken our tackle guard hybrid, but maybe we do need to get a pure tackle. And Kellen DeCeach, he's a little bit older, so I don't know how the Ravens feel about that. Dominique Robinson is also here, the edge out of Miami of Ohio, pretty underrated player. D'Angelo Malone out of Western Kentucky is also here. We've taken a lot of corners at this point. I'm going to check in on the tight ends. A lot of the tight ends are still available. You can get Ruckert, Odin, Chigo Okonkwo is still here. Charlie Kolar is still here. Jake Ferguson, Connor Hayward is a likely. They're all still here. Tight ends are kind of falling. This would be a pretty good spot to record. To take a tight end, but I'm not sure how comfortable the Ravens feel about it. So I think with this pick, I'm going to... It's such a weird pick. Tackle is still kind of a position I would like to go after, but they have a lot of... They have a lot of those guys. I'm kind of looking for more of a center, honestly, here with this pick. Joshua Williams at a UNC, Pembroke is here. Marquise Hayes, more of a guard. If you're looking for a center, like Alec Lindstrom, Doug Kramer are here. They're not exactly a lot of centers. Cam Jurgens went off the board. Joshua Williams would be an interesting player. He's a really lengthy big guy, so you know what? This might be a little bit of a reach, but I'm perfectly fine with reaching here for a position of need. The Ravens can say they like Macari at center all they want. You still need kind of a backup center. TCC, Christian Cologne is not exactly the best for depth. You can always use more depth, and I think Joshua Williams gives that to you. All right, 119 coming up here. Oh my God, we have so many picks. The Siege is still here. He's still kind of interesting. Again, he's an older prospect, but man, I do kind of have some of this locked. Man, I don't know, man. I'm trying to keep this as realistic as possible. But the issue is I have so many of these damn picks. All right, I think at this point, I do want to trade and get some more picks for next year. I want to get a round 4 next year for 119. And I'm willing to give up 119 and 139 for this trade for the Washington Commanders for round 4 next year. I'm basically trying to acquire picks for next year. All right, 127. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars here. I definitely do kind of want to trade down, do a little bit more trading. They have 157, but I'm honestly not all that excited about that. So I'm going to trade down from 127, and I want a 4th round next year for 196, offering this trade. You know, this is an interesting move for the Ravens, basically trading all of their late 4ths for 4ths next year for teams who are who might be bad next year. That could be interesting. And all that to move up for Rachaad White. Alright, I've done a lot of trading in that scenario. I think I'm done with the trades. I have 128 right now from Arizona. My next pick isn't until 141, which is also in the 4th round. And then 170 is the next pick. I've done a lot of trading. I think it's time to go take a little bit of a luxury pick here. Tight end. Chigo Okonkwo is definitely going to be the pick here. I like Charlie Kolar. I like Jeremy Ruckert. I know those are technically the best players available for this point, but Chigo Okonkwo just seemed like is like a really fun fit here. I mean, he blazed his 40 time. He's so fast. He reminds me of Jonnu Smith a little bit as like that smaller built tight end. But I think he's an interesting, kind of almost like a lightning and thunder approach between Mark Andrews. I know I like Nick Boyle, but Nick Boyle is practically a glorified blocker, and Patrick Ricard is kind of plays that role as well. Them not having a good tight end too has kind of made them use Nick Boyle more in the passing game, made them use Patrick Ricard more in the passing game. So Chigo Okonkwo is definitely going to fix that. Alright, so at 141 here for the Ravens, we only have 2 picks left in this mock. We are pick at number 141. We do have some decent players here. Kyren Williams just did not have a good pro day. Had a terrible pro day. Pierre Strong Jr. is here out of South Dakota State. He is, as they say, he's older at 23, but he's got that 4.3 speed. He's got that kind of smaller build. He'd be an interesting fit kind of with the other running backs the Ravens have now. He'd basically be a kind of a what's that running back's name that the Ravens coaching staff just didn't like because of the pass blocking. I'm blanking on names right now, but you guys are gonna kill me in the comments. Ty something, I forget what his name is, but Pierre Strong would basically play that role. If they want more of a power running back, I don't really know. I think Kyren Williams would be more. He's not just. Brian Robinson could be definitely that power running back. I think Brian Robinson's going to be the pick here. He fits Greg Roman's offense pretty well. So I think we've addressed a lot of the needs here. I think at this point, at our next pick, we can pretty much take whatever we want. We do have some offensive line depth, but I think I do kind of want to go for a safety here. We have our defensive linemen basically all sorted out. You know, Noah Ellis out of Idaho really could fit the pick here. Edge rush. We have Jesse Luketa. He's more of a linebacker. Adam Anderson is such an odd player. We still don't know what's going on with Adam Anderson's off-the-field issues. So he's pretty much going to be undraftable at that point. Jeffrey Gunter is also here. God, they're really low on Gunter, too, aren't they? 288. Wow. Isaiah Thomas is here. He'd be a decent pick. I think Joshua Izindu would be an interesting split. I don't know. We've taken a tight end. We've taken a running back. We've taken tackle. We've taken guard. Curtis Brook could be interesting. I think nose tackle is definitely not a need anymore. So guys like John Ridgway and Noah Ellis and Odo Oguningba wouldn't really be the best possible picks here. God, we've really had to work with a kind of a bad board, haven't we? So with this pick, what am I gonna do? You know what? I kind of want to take another tackle guard hybrid. Chris Paul, no, not the basketball player, the tackle guard hybrid out of Tulsa. He's a pretty solid player. He's a bit of a reach at 188. So I think if we could potentially trade down the 194 for 170, and can I pick up a 6 next year from the Saints? We can. Okay. So we moved all the way down into the 6th round. That's a big time leap, but hopefully some of those players will be available. Alright, 194 here. We're still... Now I think the board is a little bit better. I like this board a little bit more. So... Is our guy still here? Chris Paul is still here. I think he really fits. But Joshua Izidu is also here. He fits better as a left guard, but he can also play left tackle he played left tackle and guard for the Tar Heels. Zach Thomas, also out of San Diego State, is here. You know, he's played a lot of positions. He's a lot older at 23, though. At this point, I think you're getting a lot of older prospects. Chris Paul is also pretty old, too. He's 23 and a half. Wow, that's kind of old. Show me just pure tackle. There's not a lot of young developmental pieces here. They're all just kind of older guys, which I think at this point in the 6th round, I think that's where we're in. Yeah, we're in round 6. At this point, you know, I'm going to take a shot on Cade Mays. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not. I know I've been kind of inconsistent with this draft, but I'm going to take the best player available in Joshua Izindu. I know I kind of procrastinated on that a little bit, but I think that's a pretty decent pick for that spot. Played tackle guard, a little bit older, but honestly, I like to trade down, picking up more picks for next year's class. This was a little bit of a weird scenario, but I think this is a more realistic look at what could happen when the Ravens are on the clock on Thursday, if they do really want to trade back. Okay. So this is the overall grades we get for this trade. Picking, to go over the mock draft again, I know a lot have happened. We had a lot of picks. So let's just review about what happened. We took the 14th overall pick, and we flipped it for the Patriots first rounder, the Patriots second rounder, and a fourth in their fifth rounder. We received an A- on that deal, according to PFF. And with that trade, we selected Jordan Davis. Then at 50, And then at 45, we selected David Ojabo. That basically gives us a redshirt year with him. Very interesting move to basically sit there and develop him. We then took a starter immediately in Roger McQuarrie. Basically, he's going to start immediately. I think right now, out of your first 3 picks, I think I think Davis and McQuarrie are starters. I think could be starters on day 1. McQuarrie, I think, could be a little bit interesting because I don't know how that's going to work, especially if the Ravens do sign a veteran. Like, how does this work? Like, do you put Marlon Humphrey in the slot if that happens? I don't know if McQuarrie has ever really played a lot of slot corner in his career. I'm going to guess he hasn't. So I think you would put McQuarrie on the outside with Humphrey in the slot on some packages and Peters on the other side of him. We then took Jamari Sailor out of Georgia, tackle guard hybrid. Basically, he can start day 1. I definitely think he could start day 1 if they don't like what they're seeing out of Ben Cleveland. Of course, you want to give Ben Cleveland and Tyree Phillips, especially if they think that Tyree Phillips and Ben Cleveland want to be given their fair shots. Sailor just adds another more depth to that room. Round 3, we took Zion McCollum. They say it's C-. I don't think that's a C- pick. I think that's more of an A. They're super low on Zion McCollum, and I don't know why they're giving us such bad grades for this little run here. I don't really particularly agree with that. Josh Williams is more center, is more center in depth. I think we really needed it. Chigo Okonkwo really gives us that versatile tight end piece. I love that move. They say it's a C-. I don't care. Brian Robinson is that power running back. I think if J.K. Dobbins and Gus aren't ready to go day 1, this is a player I think could start day 1 for the Ravens. So that's a really fun pick. Again, think about the potential starters for this team day 1. Jordan Davis, Roger McQuarrie, Sailor maybe. I don't think McCollum would be starter day 1. Joshua Williams probably won't be a starter day 1. Chigo might be a starter day 1, but it's also interesting because do they really, do they want to get back to running all those 14-man sets? Chigo could be a starter day 1. I think he could get on the field a lot day 1. Brian Robinson could be a day 1 starter if injuries do affect Dobbins and Edwards. Although I did see a video of Edwards doing his rehab today on Marlon Humphrey's Instagram account. He looks really good, but obviously I don't know what that entails. We then made a trade for the 4th round and the 5th round, trading 194 and a 6. Trading a 5th rounder to the Saints for their 6th round pick and a 6th round pick next year. We then took Joshua Izidu at 194. That got an A+ for our PFF. And then we also made a couple of trades, trading 119 and 139 to the Washington Commanders for our 4th round pick, and trading 127 in 196 to the Jaguars for their 4th round pick next year. So we continue to acquire some picks for next year. In total, I think we acquired 2 picks for next year and 2 4th round picks. That's pretty decent. Overall, the draft got a B+. Overall, if this is the last draft, if this happened in real life, I think I would be pretty satisfied with it. I don't know if I would be jumping up and down, jumping over rooftops for it, but I think this would be really exciting, especially if Ojabo can get back to being healthy. And next year, you're going to Ojabo. With Ojabo next year, with Jordan Davis next year, potentially starting full snaps, with Seiler potentially getting on the field, with Zion McCollum potentially getting on the field, this is a really fun scenario for the Ravens. And I think with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's it. This is the last Mock Draft Monday for you. Here's the class for you. Jordan Davis at 21 after trading down and collecting a lot of picks for the Patriots. At 45, we took David Ojabo, basically giving him a red shirt for this year. Hopefully he can come back and be healthy. We get Odafe Owe's best friend. We get a potential stud pass rusher in the second round. Falls because of injuries. Obviously won't play a lot this year, but for 2023 and beyond, looks like to be an amazing pick. Could be an amazing pick. Roger McQuarrie at 54, a part of the trade for the Patriots. They traded down to trade up for George Karlaftis. So it was practically George Karlaftis for Jordan Davis and Zion and Roger McQuarrie, and a 4th round pick, which turned into 127, which I used to get the Jaguars' 4th round pick next year, and then 5th round pick 150, which I used. Where did I use that? Oh, that I used to get a 6th round pick for next year, and I used that 6th round pick to get a developmental guard in Josiah Izidu. So it's an interesting trade, but I think for the future you have 3 impact starters on the defense going forward. Jamari Seiler, really good depth in the 3rd round. Tackle guard hybrid, can really play anywhere. He's a really good player. Really good pass blocker, really good run blocker as well. He's a really solid player. Zion McCollum at 100. I've been locking this guy to the Ravens consistently because he's been such a high riser that when he falls in, I think that that these mock draft machines just haven't picked up on the fact that he's going to go a lot earlier. So I think that's why he's been available to me in so many of these drafts. But he was my 3rd round pick. He could be a potential starter one day. And then just getting a bunch of depth in Josh Williams at center. Chigo Okonkwo, tight end from Maryland. Potential starter, day 1, 2nd tight end, H-back role. Brian Robinson, running back, power running back. Traded down, 2 trades, on total I did 4 trades in this mock draft. Eventually picked up some guard depth in Joshua Izidu, and that is the mock draft. So with all that said, thank you guys so much for supporting me during this time. We are getting really good views on these other mock drafts. Again, I can't thank you enough. And what's very special about this week is that we're not done yet. I'm going to have a lot more content coming. I'm going to have content on draft day reacting to whoever the Ravens' 1st round pick may be. I don't know who it's going to be yet, but hopefully it's a really good player and we can have a really fun reaction. Or if it's not a really good player and it's somebody I don't like, Trevor Penning, and we can potentially have videos of me melting down on the internet. So with all that said, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for my predictive pick coming and my what I would do mock draft for all teams in the NFL for the 1st round only. I am very excited about this week. I love the draft, and like always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting me. If you like this video, like, subscribe, leave a comment, do all that fun stuff. And with all that being said, have a wonderful night and take care.